Living with Louis Dog's the only way to stay safe. Life of love and life of love, come back to me. Loving is what I got. I said remember that. Loving is what I got. I remember that. Loving is what I got. I said remember that. Loving is what I got. So that's see, but we're done.
Make your pick during Matt's Madness. Going on now at Matt Castrucci Kia. Lease a new 2021 Kia Forte LXS for $179 a month. Score big at Matt Castrucci Kia, home of a lifetime powertrain warranty.
Oh yeah, welcome back. Before we left, we started into Unit 6D before spring break so that we could get done with 6D by the end of this 9 weeks. How many weeks we have left in the quarter? We're down to our final 2 weeks, so 6D will be our last unit. In Unit 6D, we've already talked about acids. The video discussed acids and how to name acids, how to recognize acids. That's what the video was before break. Today we're going to move into, now that we are comfortable with naming acids, we're going to move into naming other types of compounds. Ionic and covalent. These are, and we're talking about the ionic and covalent and how to name those, to be able to name these. Tonight we will be looking at a handout that looks something like this, where you will be naming the different compounds. To remind you of which ones were acids on tonight's homework. This is not what we're doing in class. We're doing this tonight. The red ones are acids. When did we learn to name acids? The video before break. So if you've forgotten how to name the acids on the video before break, you might need to freshen up on that. You'll need to be able to look at a compound before you name it and know, is it ionic or is it covalent? If it's an ionic compound, you'll name it one way. If it's a covalent compound, there's another set of rules for naming it. When will you learn those rules for naming ionic and covalent? That is what you'll be doing in class today. So we already know how to name the acids. They're in red. One thing you're going to learn today is naming ionic. If there's a metal and a non-metal, you're going to name it like it's ionic. But some of the metals have more than one possible charge that they can be in a compound. And that will affect its naming. How you name it. You have to recognize compounds that have metals in them with more than one possible charge. For instance, there's a compound that looks like this. There's a compound like this. NiCl2. And there's another compound, NiCl3. Do they both have nickel? Nickel's Ni. Yes. Do they both have chloride ions in it? Cl. Yes. There's two different compounds with the same element. So they have to have different names. You can't have a name, same name, go to more than one compound. No one would know what the compound was, which one you were talking about. So today, when you watch the video, they're going to tell you how to name compounds that have metals that have more than one charge. The chloride ion is always what charge? The chloride ion is always, it doesn't have more than one charge. The chloride ion is always what? Always 1 minus. So what's the difference here is what the metal's charge is. How do I know nickel is one of the metals that have more than one charge? You have been provided with a list of the metals that have more than one charge. So if the compound you're naming has a metal in it with more than one possible charge, and it shouldn't surprise us that nickel has more than one charge, because do you remember the bracket that went above iron, cobalt, nickel on the periodic table? I write this for you. We have iron, we have cobalt, and we have nickel. That's supposed to be a lowercase O right here. Iron, cobalt, and nickel have a bracket above them. Do you remember this way, way back? There's a bracket above iron, cobalt, nickel, and the bracket is Roman 8. And we spent a lot of time talking about, like, why did they put the same bracket over 3 different elements? Same Roman numeral over 3 different elements. And it was a reminder that they have what? Same behavior, meaning that they will do the same kind of things when they get into compounds. Iron, cobalt, and nickel all can become 3+ or 2+ in compounds. So when you get to tonight's homework, you'll see that the metals, the compounds that have metals with more than one charge in them are highlighted in what color? They are in what color? Yes. So when you see green, that means you need to figure out how to name that compound. When are we going to learn how to name compounds that have metals with more than one charge? During today's video, during today's notes, we will learn how to deal with this. You'll learn how to name the ones that are covalent. Covalent, 2 nonmetals. You'll learn how to name the ones that are ionic, metal, nonmetal. Notice that on the ones that have the green, metals with more than one charge, you're given a place underneath there to work out its name. They will show you how to do that today, how to work out its name, but they've given you extra place to do that. Let's make no mistake about it. Learning during these pandemic times where some of your classmates are distance remote learning still, and some of you are here, that the way that we get information to you has changed. The videos that we watch are the method by which we're going to help to give you the information that you need to do an assignment like this. So you've got to really think back. You're like, homework. A lot of students, when they're like, oh, I've got work to do. A lot of students immediately like, I've got work to do. My goal is to get this done quickly. Don't make that mistake. Your goal is to get this done with learning in mind. So don't rush through the video and get straight to the assignment. You'll be clueless. You'll have serious difficulty doing this. If you watch the videos, you'll be like, wow, this is really pretty easy. What have you been provided? I promised that you would be given a sheet that gives you information. Here's some information sheets that you'll be given. Where? How about right? How about right? How about right? Where? Where's our assignment? Classwork. Here we go. A great resource for today's homework. Here's where the assignment is for tonight. There's a polyatomic ion sheet. And you're like, what's a polyatomic ion? Think back to when we watched the video on acids where they told us how to name binary acids, hydrogen in front of a halogen, or ternary oxyacids. Those were hydrogens in front of the polyatomic ions. But to name that, you need to know the name of the polyatomic ions. Here you've been given a list. Polyatomic ion list. Here you're given a periodic table of ions, metals that have more than one charge. But here, on this one, you're given both of them. So this has the metals, charges of the metals that have more than one charge. This is a list of polyatomic ions alphabetically. This right here is another list of the polyatomic ions. This one right here is very useful because it gives you the formula, the charge of the polyatomic ion formula, and its name to the right. This is very well organized. But the other reason this is useful is it gives you a list of the diatomic element molecules, and it gives you the prefixes that you use when naming covalent. So this kind of has everything on it you need. And it also has the metals with more than one charge on here and what charges they can become. So this particular thing is kind of like the other two combined into one handout. You're welcome. I know a lot of you right now are like trying to decide, like, do we applaud now? When do we applaud? When is the time for us to really give thanks for the materials that have been provided for you to learn? That time is now. And for those of you that are like very excited, well done, students. Well done. Welcome back. Welcome back. I like that. I like that enthusiasm. This assignment's for tonight. But before we get to tonight's assignment, this is 6D4. Before we get to actually name compounds, do you understand that we've reached the point of the year now that we are going to name compounds? We know why compounds form. We're now going to understand how to name them. That's where we are right now in the year. This is a big moment. And today, 6D3 will help give you the information that you need to get this done. Good luck, ladies and gentlemen, with your assignment. Tomorrow we'll talk about this. Tomorrow we will go over how to name the ones that you had difficulty naming. Good luck.